Hey there guys, welcome back to another episode of Gavinsky's Tutorials. Today I'm just going to do a quick orientation video of this app SynthStamp. So this came out yesterday and it's just $5. And it's, there are good things about this and there are really annoying things about this from what I've seen so far. But, it's really, I think it's worth grabbing at $5. But this basically includes two real classic synths. So one, and by the way, we can use this here to make this main view bigger. I hate this UI. I mean, why do we want these wood panels and stuff, in the back, the wooden table in the background and all this stuff? It is so unnecessary. This is terrible. I'm sorry. But, you can use the zoom feature that you'll find in accessibility settings, right? And that'll make everything a lot better. But, it's definitely cool to have these. So this is the Arp2600. And the other one, which you can access, it's very weird the way you switch between these, I think. Like basically you have to open the preset menu and then click back and then choose this. Okay, and then we're in here in this other one. So this, let's take a quick look at the App Store. Hang on. So okay, the vintage synth playground you can take anywhere, blah blah blah. Fully modeled engines. So they're going to add more synths to this. So yeah, one based on the Arp2600 and the other one a circuit bendable model. That aspect is actually really cool, based on the SK-1, Casio SK-1. We haven't seen one either. So I think this is the first Arp2600 that's available for iOS. So let's see, I mean, works on iPad, 16 or later, iPhone, Mac. Okay, I don't know. I think it did say somewhere not verified for Mac or something. I definitely saw that somewhere. So I don't know how, reliable that is or whatever, but it does say here that it will run on a Mac. But I definitely saw something somewhere not verified. Anyway, at $5, I think it's probably worth a gamble. But it's okay. It sounds great, I think. And I mean, I don't know, how authentic the sound is or anything. I've never played with the original hardware. I've never played with any plugin or anything that emulates these. But it does sound good, right? So let's just go back in here. Let's just take this. The only thing is, with the Arp2600, it is it's monophonic. I really massively prefer polyphonic instruments myself, but it's still really cool. I have been enjoying fiddling around with this. So I spent a few hours kind of playing around with it, and I also took a quick look at the manual for another, because there's no actual manual for this. So I looked and I found the one for, I think it's Korg's. And so I took a little look through that, and I kind of, know a bit what's going on, but I'm certainly no expert on this or anything. So this is the first thing you should really pay attention to here. With this bar, you can go between this keyboard view and this. But I mean, there's just so much wasted space here. I really hate this approach to UI design. So yeah, I am using the zoom feature, and you'll find the settings for that in accessibility. Once you're on this, then you can use 3 fingers to drag around. I'm not very experienced using this. Let me see. Let's try that. I think we can get in a little bit more there. Okay, let's just settle for that. So, we take a quick look, just a little bit of an overview of how this works. I don't really want that moving around there. Hang on, okay. So, Here you've got your preamp section. Here we have the oscillator 1, right? Here oscillator 2, here oscillator 3. And then here we have the filter section, and we can, set the levels for things going into the filter. So if we look here at this patch, you can see this slider is up here, right? And this is the slider for oscillator 3. Unless you send something else in here, okay? So basically this is all normalized. So, this is a semi-modular synth. So basically, like, you don't have to, you can put cables in here, right? So when you press on a jack, then you can drag, right, to put it somewhere, and you'll see the available options, right? Or you can press with one finger and then press somewhere else with the second finger, and they'll be connected, right? So it does have this ability, but the thing is, because it's all normalized, there are already things that are basically linked up, and then it's just, you can override that, or maybe in some cases augment it or whatever. I'm not really sure. Let me show you what I mean. See, one of the weird things, anyway, weird to me, I haven't seen this before, about this is these oscillators. If you look here, for example, you have saw and pulse. But if we listen to this oscillator 3, it's, what's being sent out there is actually a mix of those. And so, like, we can then send something else in here. So for example, if I just want pulse, then I can take this, okay, and let's say I drag this here. And so now, that's just the pulse waveform. If I take this and drag it there, now it's a saw waveform. So there's me playing with the pulse width. Now this is not going to affect that because it's just saw, right? I think I will maybe take the reverb down a little bit, right? So, quite a nice sort of accessible way to experiment with modular. But it's really straining on your eyes to spend much time with this if you don't use the zoom feature. I spent about 2 hours last night playing around with this, and my eyes felt really, really tired after. And I mean, I wear glasses, and when I wear glasses, my reading vision is very good, So, so yeah, that's the basic principle there. And then, I mean, we have all these things as well, like, let's say here then, for example, I mean, this one thing here, is the oscillator going to track keyboard pitch or not? So if I turn that off and I play a note on my keyboard, that's what it's like. Now, like here, for example, we can do FM. So for example, here, I could do FM, and it's set up to use VCO2 for that. So if I just bring this slider up, now we are getting FM from VCO2, and so if I play with the frequency here, that's also going to change that. But again, we could patch anything in there. I could take this triangle. I mean, I can take from somewhere else as well. It doesn't have to be from VCO2 or anything, I could take this square wave or whatever, and put that in here. Didn't connect for some reason there. Okay. And now that's doing the FM there. Right? So, just look at the labels and you'll see what it's, you know, kind of hardwired to do. And then if you want to change that, just connect the cables whatever way you like. So the let's get rid of that. So I mean, let's see what it's like here with a few of those oscillators up. And you have fine tune here as well, by the way. And again, I mean, I can't say how authentic it is or anything, but the filter sounds really great to me. So let's see, let me get a, try a different preset. It's nice and growly, isn't it? Nice and meaty. So then here, ADSR section. This seems like, if you see here, there's attack time, and then there's a separate slider for attack and release time. I think these basically scale this. So, you know, if I brought this up quite high, but it's actually still a pretty fast attack. And you see if I bring this up now, that is a much slower attack, right? Okay, here, mixer section. Again, reverb, you know, various inputs here going into the VCA. Down at the bottom, noise generator. So, you know, for example, if you see noise generator as, let me see what we got here, VCO2, okay. So like, if I bring this up, for example, to do FM on VCO2 using the noise generator, or is that modulating the pulse width maybe, actually? Hang on. But it won't do anything until you bring the level up here. And maybe change the noise type and stuff. So, you know, there's a few little things that can trip you up. This voltage processor section I have not gone into at all. You can check that in maybe that Korg manual or something. There's left and right speaker here as well with their levels. Now, one thing I forgot to mention as well is that both of these can be used as effects. So let me just zoom out here. So let me open something. So let me get fundamental 2. Let me open one of my factory presets in this. Let me turn off ring mod. Okay, and now let me load this. And you see already it's processing it. And so now I can, you know, play around with the preamp, like increase the gain and stuff, and see these as well. Like multipliers. So let me zoom out. And let me show you the other one. Okay, this, so let's see. Okay, so SK-1 sampling keyboard. I mean, again, you know, like what a bad use of screen real estate. Are you for real? Like, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Please, somebody help me understand. Why would you do this, you know? Like, who gives a damn about having something that looks, you know, the way the original looked? You want something actually usable, you know? It drives me crazy, you know? And like, as an AUV3, I mean, we just don't need this keyboard in there. It's bonkers. But this is cool. So, I mean, you know, first we can switch it, like here, I mean, even though I've got it loaded in an effect slot, we can, you know, still, you know, send MIDI into it, right, which is great. But the main reason to load it into an effect slot is so, let me see, look at the little rhythm section. Rhythm select. I don't know how that works. So yeah, the main thing to look at here is sample. Okay, this is where it starts to get interesting. I'm gonna zoom out, I think, for this. So let me press sample. Okay, so now I've selected sample. And now let me go over to the sampling section. And here, there's a few choices. I can turn on continuous, in which case it's just processing the incoming audio, right? Or I can go in here and press on sampling, right? And now we see the incoming waveform there, and then I can press monitor and record. Okay, so now that's recorded, and I can adjust the loop there. And you know what's really interesting then is we can go into this circuit bending. But I think I'm going to just go back actually to one of the inbuilt sounds, because that, you know, that sample does not sound particularly good. So now I've switched back to piano, and now let me tap on circuit bending. Okay, and so here, like, this is so you know, I just wish they had just done a UI like this for the whole damn thing, you know? I don't need this sort of you know, old school looking, looks like the synth thing. I really don't. So see here now, we can do this circuit bending, and so you know, we can just tap on these, right? And if we tap again, we get a different type of sound, and we can also, you know, drag and you know, just experiment. You just go wild, you know, just try different things out. Wow. So I mean, that is interesting, right? So, you know, I mean, I'm really, like, it's very cool to have, like, particularly for me, I mean, I would be more interested in the in the Arp2600. And you know, like, you can't beat a fiver for this. And certainly when you zoom in, it is very usable, and you know, the UI does respond well enough, I've got to say. You know, it is usable. It's just hard to see unless you zoom in, and it's just a bit annoying, you know, to deal with, because you'd rather it hadn't been done like this. But you know, from at first impression, it sounds really good, and I'm definitely excited to see what other stuff the developers add. But I really hope they reconsider their approach, because This is very much a non-optimal UI. It really is. And I will say also, I do definitely feel a little bit of heating of the iPad screen from this. It's not terrible. I've had worse, but it's definitely noticeably warm in the middle of the screen. When I just loaded this up with nothing else in there, I noticed it was about 15% on the CPU, and that, you know, that was just this, and it was like not even at a very low buffer. I don't know, 500 something, 512 or whatever. But I mean, it's, you know, I don't really mind. That's fine. You know, you're not gonna. It's not the sort of thing you're gonna want to use loads of instances of, probably. Well, maybe you are. I don't know. But also remember that the way you know, CPU works on iPad, sometimes you actually load up more than one instance of an app, and CPU usage goes down. You know, or you load up a few other different apps and CPU usage goes down, or it doesn't go up linearly. You know. So anyway, interesting, definitely. $5, that's good. Yeah. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you later, guys.